Hello guys, welcome to this video. I have a SSK003 GMT standard watch here, and we are going to modify this in a super simple way which you can try out at home as well. We are going to install this Lumed Pepsi bezel. So you've kind of got the Batman as standard, but it's got that red seconds hand, and it does have a cool bezel insert. It is just a glass bezel insert. I have got a sapphire bezel insert here, which is also lumed. In a second, I'm going to show you what the watch is going to look like, but let's just quickly go over the parts. We need the standard watch. We need this bezel insert. This one I got from Creative Mod Store, and I'll leave the link in the description. You can find these on Namoki mods as well, although they are slightly different color and they're not lumed. And you will need a conversion bezel. So what this thing does is it fits as the standard bezel on here. You can see the profile is slightly different. This is a sub-style one. You can also get them in a few different types. But what this allows you to do is put any SKX style bezel on, or bezel insert, onto the SSK. This bezel insert alone will fit on here, but you'll have an ugly gap around the edge because it's a slightly different size. So to get that perfect fit, you are going to need the conversion bezel, and there'll be a link to that as well. So join me as I turn this watch into this. Now check this out. This is a super cool vintage inspired Pepsi bezel. Now this one has also got a party trick. It is lumed, so you'll see that lume shot at the end of the video after I show you the relatively simple process of actually making this mod. All you got to do is take the original bezel off, put the fresh bezel on, and that insert. It only takes a few minutes if you have the right tools and you know what you're doing. But this is a watch I believe Seiko should have brought out. Unfortunately, you can make your own really easily. So join me as I show you how to do it. All right, guys, so we're back here and we're going to start the build. Really simple. Like I said, you only actually need two tools. You need a bezel remover tool. This one I've had for many years already. I've sharpened it a few times on the edge. You can get these at Namoki, and I'm just going to use a simple die. Now I'm hoping I can just press this by hand. It shouldn't be too difficult. This die usually comes in a crystal press, and you can get cheap, simple crystal presses for this particular task. You can get away with those. This is just a nylon die that we're going to use to push the new bezel back on. So I can actually do this without even taking the bracelet off, but I might take the bracelet off in a minute just to be safe. We are essentially just going to lift the top of the bezel. You should just about see that. Let me try and zoom in a little bit. So you can see there's a little gap just underneath the bezel, and this is going to go under there. So let's try to do that. See if I can do that while holding the watch in the right place. And we are simply going to push it. So dead easy, and then you're going to twist a little bit, and the bezel's going to come right off. So this is the standard bezel. Underneath it is completely smooth. There are no notches, there are no clicks, and you can see it's pretty clean on the top. You may get a little mark from where you removed it. So I'm going to try and get the focus back. Let's zoom back out again. So this, don't worry about that though, because what the new bezel does is obviously covers any little marks, and you'll be good to go. So now we need to get the new bezel on this. These bezels are just simply held on with a little gasket, which helps it sort of rotate nice and smooth as well. It's got a nice smooth bottom, and all you got to do is just make sure that gasket is in fact nice and level inside the groove there, which I believe this one is. They do come pre-lubed, but you can add a bit of grease to the gasket if you need to. But if you're just literally doing this mod, I wouldn't recommend that you need any gasket grease. So we are just going to press it on. Now you shouldn't be able to press it on by hand really, because you want there to be some force, but I'm actually going to try my old method of getting bezels on, which is literally putting this together. I think I need to go the other way around with this die so it fits in, and we are simply going to press it like so. There we go. So this bezel is now attached, and you can see how easy that was. You don't really need any special tools for this apart from something to remove the bezel. People can do it with a knife or a razor blade. I'd say, considering how cheap these things are, and you're probably going to be buying the conversion bezel from Namoki anyway, they do sell these and they're going to come in handy if you ever want to remove it again. So you should have a nice smooth action. There shouldn't be any rubber sticking out anywhere, and that's good to go. Now finally, I'm going to get this bezel insert out. Now interestingly, it does come with a piece of 3M tape, which I guess you could use if you needed some more, but it does actually already have the tape attached underneath. So what you're going to need to do is lift this off. I'm just going to try and use perhaps some little tweezers to help me do this here. And as we lift it off, we should be good to drop it on. Now, as soon as you drop it on with this bezel, because it rotates freely, it really doesn't matter how you position it. I'm going to try and line up the triangle marker with one of these indents, just so that when I turn it back to 12, it's going to look straight. And look at the difference that has made straight away. How long did that take us, guys? Like 3 or 4 minutes? Obviously it may take you longer if you're doing this for the first time, but let's check out the lume on this watch now. Now there is lume on the dial here, of course, and now there is also lume on that Pepsi bezel. Don't forget the Pepsi bezel is sapphire glass, so it should be super scratch proof. I've kept the standard crystal here, but if you follow one of my other videos, I'll show you also how to change that crystal for a flat top sapphire or a double dome sapphire crystal as well. I really like this. This comes across like a bit of a vintage Pepsi look, and the added bonus of having a little bit of lume on those numbers really makes this mod worthwhile. Considering it's only 2 parts and a couple simple tools, the base watches you can find fairly easily in pretty much any country in the world. The parts stores I just mentioned, Creative Mod Store for this particular insert, although Namoki do something similar, it just allows you to have some fun with your SSK without having to have a crystal press and so on. You know, some complex tools and processes, you can still get a nice, unique mod together. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, guys. One last thing I'll mention, there are a bunch of other options for this bezel insert, especially from the Namoki mods. You just need to look for a flat version if you want to keep the stock crystal and not have to change the crystal or really open the watch. That will keep your factory water resistance absolutely fine as well, by the way. So hopefully you found this useful, guys. Let me know what you think of this cool Pepsi SSK003, and if you don't want to go as far as modding your own, this one will be on my store too. That's svkwatches.ae, and you can buy it while it's still available. See you next time.